Hello again, everyone. In this episode, Jane and I travel across the Missouri River into Nebraska, where we visit where Lewis and Clark landed. Then on to North Platte to visit the Golden Spike Tower. From Florida to Alaska, from the East Coast to the West Coast, join Jane and Steve celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary, traveling across North America in the Cool Nana Coach, their 27-foot 4 Freedom Elite Class C motorhome, as they visit the many beautiful points of interest in all 50 United States on their golden anniversary adventure. When we started the current leg of our anniversary adventure, we had visited 43 states, leaving 7 states: Kentucky, Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska, Nevada, Louisiana, and Alaska as yet to be visited. Over the past 14 days, we have visited and camped at the first 3 of these states: Kentucky, Kansas, and Missouri. Tomorrow we plan to visit the 4th of these final 7 states, Nebraska. We leave Kansas City, Missouri and Kansas and start a 410-mile track to our next point of interest, North Platte, Nebraska. It's a 410-mile journey that will take 2 days to accomplish. We travel on Interstate 29 north and drive about 128 miles to Hamburg, Iowa. Hamburg is a city in Fremont County, Iowa, and is the most southwestern city in Iowa, hugging the borders of Missouri to the south and Nebraska to the west, where we turn west on State Highway 2 and cross the Missouri River into Nebraska, where we will stop and see the Missouri Basin Lewis and Clark Memorial and Visitor Center just off State Highway 2. Located outside of Nebraska City, Nebraska, the Missouri River Basin Center is a 12,000 square foot, 3-story showcase focused on the flora and fauna and the scientific discoveries of the Lewis and Clark expedition. Well, we've crossed over the state line into Nebraska finally, and about a mile into the state, we got a Lewis and Clark Visitor Center. So we're going to stop by and take a look and see what it's all about. We see here a full-size replica of the keelboat, which is 55 foot long and 8 foot wide. It was used by the explorers over 200 years ago on their remarkable journey up the Great Missouri River.
If you like our videos, please hit that bell icon so you'll be informed when our next video is published.
The Missouri River Basin Wildlife Walk leads us to the entrance to the Visitor Center and provides a series of picture examples of the amazing animals the Lewis and Clark's expedition saw along the Missouri River more than 200 years ago.
Well, this center basically is 3 floors of exhibits. We mainly talk about all the plants and animals that they had discovered that were new to science. And there are panels that will have the dates in which they were documented for the expedition. But we also have other parts of it that we talk about. Like over here, we talk about Clark's mapping skills and his navigation. We have the scale-size models of the boats models of the boats downstairs. Got a nice view of the Missouri River out that east window too. Got one of these?
No, we do not.
Take this. This is their trail. This is
cool.
the trail that the
Thank you.
expedition followed. Period.
That's terrific. Thank you.
There's just one more.
It's amazing.
Where they
isn't
start.
it?
So what do you think about Nebraska, Jane?
It's windy.
It's windy, very windy. Okay, time to hit on back.
After enjoying lunch on the grounds, we continue 133 miles to Grand Island, Nebraska, where we refuel and boondock for the night at the local Sam's Club. We get an early start and leave Grand Island heading west. We'll drive about 130 miles to North Platte, Nebraska. North Platte is a world-famous location for bird lovers. Each spring, the most incredible migration event in the world passes through North Platte, Nebraska. More than 400,000 sandhill cranes will spend about 6 weeks in the North Platte River Valley fortifying themselves for the nesting period to come. But there is another reason North Platte is well known. Geographically positioned in central Nebraska, it is home to the Union Pacific Bailey Rail Yard and the Golden Spike Tower. We arrive at the Golden Spike Tower, a name that reflects the final spike hammered into the Transcontinental Railroad. It was a gold spike. The entrance leads us into a large area filled with relics and memorabilia that reflect the rich history of the Union Pacific Railroad. Audio-video presentations give us a good understanding of how a railroad operates. The Union Pacific Railroad is predominantly a freight hauling railroad, and it operates in 23 states coast to coast.
Welcome to the Golden Spike Tower and Visitor Center, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to take in the panoramic view of Union Pacific's Bailey Yard, the world's largest rail yard from our 8-story tower. The Golden Spike Tower and Visitor Center, more trains than you can keep track of.
We're on our way to the 83-foot high outdoor observation deck of the Golden Spike Tower.
Wow, what a view! Look at all those trains. The Golden Spike Tower is an 8-story observation tower that affords you a bird's eye view of the incredible Bailey Yard. The Bailey Yard is the world's largest rail classification yard. It encompasses 2,800 acres of land, it's 8 miles long and 1.5 miles up to 2 miles wide. It has 2 hump yards and 301 sets of track rail. There are 2,500 employees that operate the yard 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The Bailey Yard, named after the former president of the Union Pacific, is what is known as a classification yard. Such a yard is where freight cars are sorted and connected to specific trains that will eventually deliver them to their intended destination. This sorting, also called shunting, is necessary to efficiently transport freight by placing the rail cars onto the proper train. It's an enormous task. 10,000 freight cars are shunted at the Bailey Yard every day. They're handled by a fleet of over 8,300 locomotive engines, and they power the 130 trains that pass through the yard every day, 7 days a week, hauling thousands of freight cars across the United States. A key component to efficiently shunt the freight cars at the Bailey Yard is the hump yard. Every rail car has an identification plate that's scanned through the journey through the yard. The rail car journey in the yard begins on a lead track or drill. The drill is on a man-made hill called the Hump. The rail car is released and free rolls over the hump and rolls downhill, powered only by gravity, to a series of rail switches called a ladder, which directs the car to one of over a dozen sets of tracks onto which a specific train is being assembled. Over 70 coal trains are handled in the yard every day. Many people don't understand how a diesel locomotive actually works. No, it isn't the horsepower of the locomotive engine that pulls the massive 138-car-long train. It's the electric motors that do the work, and they get their power from the enormous generator that the locomotive engine turns. Union Pacific has various yards across the country, but the Bailey Yard in North Platte is their largest yard. It is both a major maintenance yard as well as a classification yard. It is staffed with electricians and mechanics that work on the various parts that make up the locomotives. They repair and rebuild the diesel engines and electric generators and do so in record time. The repair shop replaces 10,000 pairs of wheels per year. The diesel shop repairs 750 locomotives every month. Locomotives fill up with 14 million gallons of diesel fuel every month. Union Pacific has been the lifeblood of North Platte since it was organized as a city in 1874, 8 years after General Dodge planted this rail yard on this very site. Why North Platte? Historically, North Platte's a natural stop-off point for travelers going west, long before there was a railroad. When the railroad was constructed, for trains traveling from Chicago to Salt Lake City, North Platte found itself smack in the middle. For trains going from Denver to Omaha, North Platte again found itself smack in the middle. So it made perfect sense that a rail yard in North Platte would serve the entire Union Pacific Railroad.
Please hit that subscribe button so that you'll be notified as our future episodes are released and help us build our channel. And please tell your friends about us and invite them to join us for our future episodes.
During the heyday of train travel, tens of thousands of people traveled the rails on the Union Pacific. During the Civil War and World Wars I and II, the railroad filled a vital role transporting troops and equipment for the war efforts. The North Platte Canteen became the most famous in the United States. On an average day, the canteen would serve 3,000 to 5,000 servicemen. Toward the end of the war, volunteers from North Platte and surrounding communities greeted as many as 8,000 military travelers each day with free sandwiches, coffee, cookies, cigarettes, and friendly smiles. One soldier called it the warmest, friendliest, and most rewarding half hour in my life.
We hope you enjoyed traveling with us on our journey to Alaska, and hope you'll join us on our next episode of our Golden Anniversary adventure, The Road to Alaska.